Okay, hey, what's up? This is officially the first episode of The Gatekeepers. We're here to keep out all the surface level plebs, all the posers. So, yeah. Today's topic of discussion is going to be about how originally Metallica went from avoiding trends or trying to avoid trends to hopping on every single trend they can to stay relevant. With me right now is Scarlet of
Yep.
the Poopy Podcast, and I'm Doc. So, what do you think about this, Scarlet?
Well, um, I think it's they're
Because I mean, when you think about it, like Metallica, they started off. They're like, we're not gonna fuck doing music videos, like fuck doing like this, like they were all about like we're like anti like trends pretty much. And then like around like the Black Album into like Load and Reload, they're like we're gonna like jump on every single trend to stay relevant.
yeah, and
Like
even before that, like they were like said they were like anti-music video as well, right?
oh yeah, it's true. I mean there is like
And then they made a music video for one, even
yeah.
before they sold
I
out.
mean they got bashed. They got bashed by their fans. Like people would like spit on them and be like "fuck you" and shit. So it's like they definitely dealt with some shit. I feel like that's actually technically where it started. Is probably I want to say and Justice for All. Like they started dipping their toes in the water. They're like they were gonna. They slowly started to sell out. Even though I like one as a music video, even though like the song one is a fucking Dark Angel ripoff, but whatever. That's like whole other topic of discussion. But yeah, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like why you know you're gonna go from like being against trends to like following trends. I feel like in a weird way, kind of going off topic a little bit, like Pantera did like the reverse. I mean, everybody knows that. Like they went from like a glam metal band to we're gonna be like fucking groove dudes. Like that's So I feel like that's kind of a funny kind of a thing. Technically, it would have made more sense if like Metallica and Pantera were kind of like one band in the sense of like if Metallica like became what Pantera became in the 90s, that would have made more sense if you think about it. Like let's say they I'll even put in Justice for All in there, even though kind of like we're starting to sell out, is if they like went into like after Justice for All, like they made I don't know, like Vulgar Display of Power. Like they just like went groove metal. Because I mean, a lot of thrash bands were doing that already. So it's like they were like we're just gonna be like fucking get more angry. But yeah, and they sold out. What I mean, why do you think they did that? Why do you think they started hopping on trends?
Because I mean, this is just something I don't really think about. So I don't think about Metallica a lot.
I mean, I think about Metallica in like the same way I think about Pantera in that like I don't really even care about like the music anymore, really. I'm just fascinated by like the culture around it. Like I'm just fascinated about like how cringy like the fans are. Oh, by the way, if anybody listening to this wants a fucking good laugh, go to Metallica videos and read the comments. They're amazing. They're so bad. It's like they're like having psychotic episodes in like the comment section.
Yeah, exactly. Like half the comments is just skits or shit.
Yeah, it's like what the fuck? It's like I like Metallica, this dark like evil devil I love. Like it'll say shit like that. It's like what are you even saying? I think that's why bands kind of sell out. I mean, really, like selling out is really about like appealing to the lowest common, like appealing to like the idiot that doesn't like try and search for music. That's like just spoon feed me. That's why you get like all these idiots like going, "Oh, MTV doesn't play music anymore," and all this shit's like, who gives a fuck? We have the internet. We don't need MTV to play music videos anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like they yeah, that's some boomer shit though. That's like some which again, that's like another point of discussion is like boomers like complaining about like a a TV channel that's supposed to be aimed for like teenagers and young adults. A bunch of boomers, like 50-year-olds, are like, "Well, to be music videos so I can watch it." It's like, okay, that's totally aimed for your market. But yeah, I just don't understand. Like, it's not like Metallica. Like, I can maybe understand like the Black Album to a certain extent because it's like we gotta like make some bank. We gotta like appeal to the plebs that like don't give a fuck about thrash metal. Because I mean, technically, without the Black Album, Metallica would be like at the level of Slayer probably. What do you think? You think how big how what level do you think Metallica would be at if they didn't have the Black Album?
I'd say they'd probably be like, I guess, in between where like a band where a band like Iron Maiden is, and between a band like Slayer is.
Oh, they would be so much smaller than Iron Maiden. They would be so much smaller. Maybe Slayer, maybe like a Slayer level, but Metallica would not be as big. Like if Metallica didn't have the Black Album, they wouldn't be anywhere near Iron Maiden.
Yeah, that's true.
Like the Black Album, like fucking ruined the party. Like it brought all the plebs into the fucking party. That's like, oh, like I love Metallica. No, I mean, I'm gonna bash a friend of ours a little bit. I'm not gonna say who it is, but you get like a bunch of people going, "Oh, they're legends,"
Yeah.
and it's like they have no substantial like reason for it. They just like go, "Oh, they're legends." It's like, why? Why do you think that? It's like, they're just legends. They're big. It's like, okay, why do you feel that way? It's like, I don't know. So yeah, I think that's what it was. Actually thinking to it, I think that's why Metallica started hopping trends big time after the Black Album is because they got that little taste. They got that taste of success, and they started like fiending for it. And they're like, we want to like stay like in the public. We want to stay in the public eye. We want like the fame and the money. So they were like, okay, we gotta like how we can stay relevant. And then they saw like metal was in at least in the public eye, at least in like in the mainstream, it was like dying or dead. So they're like, you know, we can't be a metal band anymore. So they just started hopping trends, and then that's why they became like they went back to metal because metal became like not as looked down on. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and that's why, if you ask me, like the true sellout moment for Metallica wasn't the Black Album. It was when Lord and Reload were coming out, because It's like the Black Album. It sold like hotcakes, but I don't think it's what Metallica were intending. But when that,
Oh no, no. You put a song like Nothing Else Matters, you're on sellout street. You're like we're trying to make it big. We're trying to get like all we're trying to get like the demographic that like doesn't want to hear like fucking double bass drums. We're getting that demographic that's like, "Oh, like this is a pretty song. Like it's not all mean and scary sounding." They're going after that market. Cuz technically the Unforgiven is like the ballad of the album, but like they were like we need to make like a fucking super ballad, so then they put Nothing Else Matters. So they definitely that's the trend hopping in the sense of like we're trying to follow like the power ballad thing, even though they put out ballads before. Like this one was like you put on Nothing Else Matters and you put on like a ballad by like Winger or something, you're like, this is like this almost sounds the same. But yeah, I mean with Load and Reload it was more evident. With Load and Reload you're like they're trying to be an alternative band. They're
yeah,
trying to ride like the grunge train. My favorite bandwagon jump is when they hopped on the new metal train. They're
yeah,
trying to be like a new metal band. They're like, Kirk, you can't do your solos.
yep.
You know, doing your solos, it's gonna make us look like old guys. We gotta like be hip with like the Limp Bizkit guys. Technically, even like the lyric side of it is like they were like trying to be like Limp Bizkit. Like they're like old, so they couldn't really like they didn't figure out the jump the fuck up riff. Like that's the thing that's missing. Like they didn't know how to like rip off new metal enough. That's what makes it kind of funny because it's like they're just old guys trying to be new metal. They needed to call like Pantera or no, they needed to call Max Cavalera and be like, "Hey Max, help us write like some jump the fuck up riffs." But yeah, you listen to the lyrics like tick 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 tock frantic. That's like some fucking Limp Bizkit like give me something to break shit. But yeah, like I feel like they're they're trying to go back to what they used to do, but they bandwagon jumped so much that they can't remember how to like write good music anymore, so they sound like a cover band of Metallica. No, like they can't like the like people are like, "Oh, Death Magnetic, it's like a return to form and all that." It's like these riffs suck. Like fucking give me like an Exodus album and like Exodus fucking a night and that's the thing too. It's like they're literally like millionaires and they can't like a band that's like 1 millionth of their size, like a tiny band in their bedroom can get like a more amazing sounding production. Like they just have like the most shittiest production. It's like what the fuck is wrong with them? And they make okay, like I'll bash like the Black Album, but I have to give it like even Load and Reload. The production is actually really good. The production on those albums are really good, but it's like you can tell what they're going for. But like, why can't they just do that? Like, I would love to hear like a really good, like a Master of Puppets level thrash metal album with like black metal production. That would be fucking amazing. Like that fucking just the thickness of it. That would have been fucking sick. But they can't even do it anymore. Like they completely lost the whole feel of it. It's just like okay, like let's try and be like thrash metal again because like it's not cringy anymore to be a metal band. And we're way too old to bandwagon jump now. So then they're like, okay, let's make a riff. Like really? That's like the stupidest riff ever. Again, like fucking Exodus fucking annihilates them. But yeah,
Yeah, I'll agree that like Exodus destroys still destroys Metallica, but I gotta disagree on your thing about the production. Like,
you don't like the Black Album production?
no, I'm talking about you were
Oh,
comparing
for
their
Death
modern
Magnetic.
productions. Yeah,
Oh yeah, you don't like my you don't like modern production. I mean, there could be good like Metallica. Metallica is a good example of shitty modern production. Like they compressed it the fuck out of Death Magnetic. Um, Hardwire is a little bit better, but Death Magnetic is just fucking. The riffs are fucking dumb and garbage, and the production's horrible. They just completely lost this. They lost the step. They can't get back on the good riff train anymore. I don't think. Actually, no. Here's a hot take. Here's a hot take. If anybody like comments on this video, if anybody comments, or if anybody watches this, they're gonna be like, fucking face palming right now. They wrote really good riffs for Lulu. People bash the fuck out of Lulu. I will fucking defend Lulu because you know what? They didn't have a lot of time to think about what they were writing. They didn't over exhaust it. You didn't have fucking Kirk like doing a lot of like cliche fucking. Oh my god, Kirk. People bash Lars. Kirk. People need to bash Kirk more. James Hetfield is literally carrying that band on his back with Rob. Like Rob is pretty competent too, but like Lars is just. I mean, Kirk is just a garbage guitar player. Worst tone. Anyway, yeah, that's a different sort of thing. But yeah, Lulu, more interesting riffs. They need to just like they need to do. They can't think too much. That's their problem. When they try and think, they're like, we got to fit in this, we got to fit in that. Just to be like, okay, you only have a month to write and record an album. Go. And I think that they could do something decent. Get like Andy Wallace to do the production, and it could be badass.
I think that was a
But yeah,
think that was a bit beyond just a hot take, my guy. That was a nuclear take.
I know, but I mean, like you listen to the riffs on like I mean, you might go, oh, like I fucking hate Lou, I hate Lou Reed's voice. Like that's a fair, it's not for everybody. I'm not like a huge Lou Reed fan, so I can understand that. But if you listen to like the instrumentals of it with just the riffs and the drums and the solos, it's actually really good. Like I was like, oh shit, like everybody else, I was like, oh, this is just fucking cringe. Like this is stupid. But you give it like a serious listen, and you're like the riffs are really good, and the solos aren't like complete. I mean, it's like Kirk Hammett, so it's not going to be amazing, but they're like it's the least cringy out of like the new Kirk solos. It's like I feel like the idea people bash the idea more than they actually bash the music of Lulu. They see that idea and they're like, this is garbage. And since like Death Magnetic and like Hardwired, like it's kind of presented more in the way that they're not gonna bash it, they don't bash it. And they should. Those are the albums. Like I will fucking take Lulu any day over Death Magnetic and even Hardwired. Hardwired has a tiny little glimpses. It's like there's tiny little ideas that could have been cool if they like kind of went with that idea instead of like, okay, we're just gonna go past this idea and go to like a boring, stupid idea. But it's like kind of rare in that album. I mean, that's the problem when you like bandwagon jump is that you kind of like lose like your focus. That's what definitely happened to Metallica. They lost their focus for sure.
Okay, but back to Lulu for a second. Like, you say that
Mm-hmm.
like the instrumentals are good, but like I don't know. I feel like at best they're
The
like
production is decent also. Like it's not the best production ever, but it's decent
like at
for nowadays.
like at best they're like possible like 6 out of 10 like leftovers, and and at worst it's like you know that one song that you sang on the server at one time.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
just sounded like just I was like what the fuck is this? It's like it's just noisy, annoying, experimental bullshit. Like even without Lou Reed on it, I hated it.
Like, what do you hate? I mean, literally, like a sick riff. It's got like a cool. It's almost like a Kerry King. So I mean, everybody hates Kerry King solos. I know. I don't give a fuck. Like, Kerry King has. I hate Kerry King for a lot of reasons, but his solos, like, I like chaotic solos. Chaotic solos are cool. Like Kirk does a cool, like, little chaotic solo. It's not like the penta. I fucking hate when he does like the pentatonic like wah wah solo. I fucking hate that shit. It's like I've heard that this solo from you a billion times. I don't need to hear it again. I'd rather him do like some wild, crazy, like more avant-garde shit. But yeah, the riff. You could make the argument. Oh, they just repeat the riff too much. But I'd rather I don't have a problem with the repeating riff because it's a good riff. If it was a shitty riff, I would definitely hate the song. But it's like a good riff. It's like that's like just a good riff. Way better than it's like that's a stupid riff. It sounds cartoony.
I
That's the problem. Is their riffs on their main albums suck. Nowadays, that is. They used to have really good riffs. But yeah, just I bet like I feel like okay, like let's say they were like we're gonna go the direction of like Lulu, but we're gonna like have James sing it, and we're gonna get like a really good producer, and we're gonna get Andy Wallace to engineer it. They would make like a fucking banger album. They would make a fucking actually a sick album. Also, they would have to like be like, okay, Lars, like you're gonna have to stop being like a lazy asshole and like actually take like some drum lessons. Like get Dave Lombardo to give him like some drum lessons, and then tell like Kirk Hammett you're also gonna have to like start. You're gonna have to fix your rig and like get an amp that doesn't sound like you're playing through a practice amp and start like practicing like good solos. We're gonna take the wah pedal away from you. No wah pedal anymore. If you use the wah pedal, you're fired. Then it they could write like a sick album. I feel like if that was like the starting point, they're like, okay, we're gonna like go the route of like Lulu riffs, where we're gonna like structure it a little better. We're gonna structure it better. It would be pretty. It would be pretty sick. I think they could. I think they could if they tried. But I feel like they're just like lazy millionaires now.
I well now it just sounds like you want them to be like a completely different band.
I mean, technically, they're always like a different band. I mean, they're a different band on fucking Load and Reload. They're not the same band. You give somebody fucking Kill 'Em All, and then you're like, okay, here's Reload. They're gonna be like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is a different band. Give me like another album from this the band that made Kill 'Em All, and they're like, nah, this is the same band. It's the See, like that's another thing. I feel like they were definitely again. It's like they want to be they wanted to stay relevant. Like the whole thing with going back to like them bandwagon jumping. Like they definitely tapped into like that redneck market with. They tried to tap into the alternative market, but they also try to tap into the redneck sort of like the people like into Pantera at the time, like the sort of like that's how they were doing all like the country shit, you know, like Mama Said and all that sort of shit. Like they were trying to be like, you know, because since there wasn't as many metal fans, they were like, we gotta fill up these like fucking we gotta fill up these stadiums. So what are we gonna do? Well, there's a shitload of like rednecks that like got into the Black Album. Okay, we'll go after that. That's the people that are like into load and reload a lot. The people that think Turn the Page is a Metallica song. Yeah, just do you think if they didn't bandwagon jump, they would have survived till now? But like, I don't think they. I don't. I think they were it with Lars in the band. They would have kept doing it. Do you think they would have done it if they fired Lars like they were going to do around the Master of Puppets era? Because you know they were gonna fire Lars right around that time.
I did not know that.
Yeah, like it's like kind of like well known knowledge now, like around like Master of Puppets, like Kirk Hammett and like everybody, pretty much everybody in the band besides Lars, of course, were saying like, yeah, we're sick of Lars, like we're gonna get rid of him. Like they fucking they told Scotty and they even told like fucking Dave Mustaine, like, yeah, we're getting rid of like we're like Lars is like annoying the fuck out of us. And then like the bus crash happened and yeah, we all know what happened there, so they kept Lars after that. Even actually, I think Kirk admitted to it. Like Kirk, like somebody asked him about it, and he's like, "Yeah, yeah," but that was like a long time ago. Like, it doesn't matter anymore. Makes me kind of suspicious of something. I'm not gonna say what, but it's kind of weird. Lars was going to be fired, and then that bus crash happened. Hmm.
Well, it's like
But yeah, uh, you think if Cliff was alive and they fired Lars, do you think they would have trend hopped like they did later on?
no, I don't think so.
Because like one side of me says like, because I hate that shit where like, oh, Cliff would have like made him not sell out. I fuck Cliff Burton is the shit, and anybody that says Rob is better, fuck you, you're a fucking idiot. Cliff Burton fucking at 24, Cliff Burton was like fucking shredding. So yeah, Cliff Burton's the best bass player Metallica. Anyway, back to what I was saying. They like I want to think that they would probably still sell out even with Cliff in the band. But to be honest, I don't think they would. If I actually look at it like objectively, just the type of person he was, and then like they were going to get rid of Lars, so they were going to get rid of like that money hungry side of them, that fame and money hungry side.
Uh,
So I think they would have. I think they would have like not sold out. Actually, like that would have been the perfect time to kick out Lars because Dave Lombardo around that time also left Slayer for a little while. Have you seen that video where Dave Lombardo plays with Metallica?
Yeah.
Tell me, like, you didn't fucking go, this is, like, the shit. This is how, like, Metallica should sound. It was fucking sick.
It was it was alright.
I mean, he missed some cue. I mean, he literally learned, like, the songs that day. So, like, you can't, like, if he would have been, like, we're going to rehearse and we're going to tour, he would have just fucking, he already crushed it just learning it on that day. So, like, if he would have been, like, well rehearsed, psh, like, he plays, like, the song, like, you can actually hear the double bass in there. Like, he wasn't trying to hide everything with the crash. Like, I mean, everybody, well, certain people know this, that, like, Lars hides, like, everything with the crash. That's why he doesn't have a ride. He hides everything with the crash. Or the China, I should say. But, yeah, just, if Dave Lombardo joined, if they never kicked out, here's the Metallica lineup that I think might have not have gotten as big, but they would have been just like metal fucking lead. Like they would have probably been huge, and they would have probably still been huge in like the underground, like in not even underground metal, but like we'll call it like mid. I don't know. I don't know what to call it, but you know what I mean. Like on the level of like an Iron Maiden, let's say.
Yeah.
If they were just that big, here's like the band I think would have been just fucking deservedly like called legends, and you don't have to say anything else. Is if they convinced John Bush to join, and he was the singer, they kept Dave Mustaine. They got rid of Lars. They got Dave Lombardo. They had Cliff Burton, and of course they have James. He can do like backup vocals. That would have been like the sickest band.
What?
Think about it. Like, think about how sick that band would be. And in some alternate universe, like, if you believe in that type of shit, there's that band, and that band is fucking sick. Because, like, if, like, James starts writing, like, shitty riffs, like, Dave Mustaine could, like, fucking bully him into, like, writing better riffs. I mean, you heard Dave Mustaine's, like, the fucking, that one riff, the teaser riff, he's still fucking killing it, so... He could still do it. That's one of the bands. I feel like even Slayer last album was shit, but like Anthrax and Megadeth, they're still fucking killing it. I won't say killing it. I'll just say I don't cringe when I hear their shit. Like it's good still. It's decent to really good. But that's the band I feel like wouldn't sell out. They would be too... Lars is a toxic person. Kirk is too much of a pushover, so he does anything they say. James can be toxic too, but like he was kind of like Cliff's bitch a little bit, if you notice that. Like he would like do anything Cliff said. So if Cliff was still alive, he would listen to him, and like Mustaine like doesn't take any shit from anybody. So like he would also like keep him in line. And John Bush is like the coolest dude. Like whether you like Armored Saint or him in Anthrax, like he seems like a fucking chill ass guy. So he wouldn't like cause any sort of static. I think Lars is the main problem. That's the people like to bash on Lars, but I feel like it's kind of deserved. What do you think about that?
Yeah, but he's a legend.
He's the best drummer ever. Have you heard the drum beat for One? It's the best. He's always been shitty. People want to say like, oh, he used to be good back in the day. literally Lars was like the Pro Tools of his day. He was like he kind of like invented like everybody like all the boomers that like bash like oh fucking Pro Tools you can just like copy and paste like a single beat. It's like if you like Metallica and the vast majority of like those boomers that make that complaint do like it's all bullshit because he literally did that. Like they would take like you know drum beats and they would splice them together. So he was Pro Tools before Pro Tools. I think he's like the main culprit. He seems to be like the one that we have to like be big. He tries to act like he's not. Like he tries to. You watch interviews with him, and he's like, "Nah, no, I don't care about like being big. You know, I just want to sweat." And it's like, shut up. Even if you don't watch like interviews of Metallica, like you can kind of just sense it. Like it's really obvious. And people want to like make like oh well Lars is Metallica or Lars I like this one. Like nobody knows who Metallica would be without Lars. It's like you wouldn't know who they would be. You wouldn't know them. If you're like an actual metal fan, you would know who Metallica was.
Yep.
It's the same people that like listen to when Metallica covered Celtic Frost and they're like, "Who's Celtic Frost?" You go to like a video of Celtic Frost and on YouTube and it'll be like, "I'm here because of Metallica." It's like, you're outing yourself as being a noob.
Yeah.
You're outing yourself as being a fucking surface level pleb. Like,
Fucking normies
what?
get out of
Like,
my scenery.
no, I mean, I don't have anything. I'm not like one of these people that go like, oh, like I don't want anybody into, like I don't care. Like if you're like into it, like cool, like more people. Like I want the artist to make more money, but like it's like I just don't want. You know, it's like idiots coming to the party and ruining the party. It's like you want more people at the party, but you don't want like idiots like fucking
Yeah.
being like belligerent and drunk and like, oh yeah, just like going around just being like obnoxious. That they have no idea of
Yeah,
like the
it's like
roots of things.
yeah, it's
They
like
have no respect for it.
it's like people that don't like truly like, get it. Like we don't want them.
They're just in it for the trend. They're not into it for like what it actually is. It's like, oh, like it's like going off on a little tangent here. We might do another episode on this, like actually going more in depth. But like, it's like people that wear like metal, like celebrities that wear metal shirts. It's like that person is not listening to the band Excel.
Yeah.
Kim Kardashian is not listening to Morbid Angel. I'm sorry. There are some pop, and don't take this the wrong way. I'm not saying oh because they're pop or they're like big people. Like I believe Post Malone actually likes metal. I believe. I'm not gonna say Lady Gaga is like a big giant metal fan, but like she has like a decent knowledge, like not decent. I would just say that like she's like a little bit farther than a pleb. She's like maybe like there's like 10 levels of being a pleb. She's like maybe uh like level level one being like where she's gonna get out of being a pleb. She's almost there. She's almost out. She's almost, you know, out of the pleb thing, but she's still there. But yeah, there are people that actually like the stuff that are, you know, pop people or whatever you want to call them, celebs. But Yeah, that's what Metallica wants to cater to, though. They want to cater to like the people. They literally sold out. They they sold out like the integrity of like we're gonna be true to this scene and we're gonna be like true to like actual fans. And they're like, we want to get like a lot of money and we want to get a lot of fame, so we gotta like get as many people together as we can. Like that's definitely a big reason why they bandwagon jump. Like, because it's not like people want to say like, oh, they want to just change their sound, like they just want to do what they want to do. Technically, yeah, they're doing what they want to do, but they what they want to do is jump on trends. That's what they wanted to do. That doesn't make it a good thing, you know, that they wanted to do what they wanted to do. It's just that yeah, it's just like a
Actually
just that
going back to this friend of ours, it's like they fucking hate Kiss for selling out, but they love Metallica even though their sell outiness was like even worse.
I think it's because of what like Kiss represents, and like you got to kind of grow up with Kiss. Like I'm a Kiss fan. I'm not ashamed to say it, but it's because I grew up with Kiss. Like that was like one of the first bands I liked. And like, say what you want about Kiss. What?
What? I didn't say
What did you
anything.
say?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, I think I hear myself through like your headphones or something. I thought you were saying something. Anyway, uh, say what you want about Kiss, but like their cringe level is entertaining. I mean, technically, Metallica's cringe level is also entertaining. I feel like a lot of the bands like I grew up loving, I don't even get entertainment out of their music anymore. I get entertainment out of like them as people. Like to me, it's like how people like get entertainment out of Spinal Tap. You know how like people watch Spinal Tap and they laugh their asses off because like they're like the guys are being buffoons and just like clueless idiots. Like I watch like some kind of monster to me is like Spinal Tap the sequel. That's like the sequel to Spinal, the perfect Spinal Tap sequel. Like I watch that movie and I just laugh my ass off. Like this scene, the scene where Lars's dad tells him to delete that is like the best. Like you can't write comedy better than that. It's like so genius. He's like Lars is all like showing his dad. He's like thinks his dad's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, that's great, son." And he's like, "Yeah, this sucks. Delete that." They need to get Lars's dad as their producer. Get rid of, just be like, delete that, get rid of it. Okay, and they just keep working. They would probably never put out an album. Lars's dad would be too based and just be like, everything you do sucks. But yeah, that's like the entertaining thing about like bands that just trend hop or that just have like that just went over the hill of like they got what they wanted. They got all the pleb idiot fans to be like, "Oh, I love this band." You know, that's why like I mean, there's definitely if anybody listens to this, there's definitely going to be a bunch of fucking idiots that go, oh, let's see you do better. Let's see you have like a band that like sells as much. Like they're doing way better. It's like I would not like like if anybody that comments that, I would not want an idiot like you to be a fan of mine.
Yeah.
Like, don't give me your money. I don't want. I don't want that. I'd rather like if I like try to like make like a band like made like legit music. Like I just want I would want enough to just survive, and that's it. Like I would not want to be a big band. I could like like
Yeah, like if
okay. What what were you gonna say?
yeah, like if I like started a band, I would go out of my way to alienate as many people as I possibly can.
Well, I mean,
Like the
as much as
ultimate filter.
I hate Nirvana, I gotta give it to Kurt Cobain for him hating his fans. Like he realized he was like, I'm playing for a bunch of idiots. That's like one of the based things about Kurt Cobain. I don't like Kurt Cobain. Like the Melvins fucking annihilate that band. But yeah, I gotta give him credit for like feeling like his fans were idiots because they were. So he was like, that's the good thing about him. If anybody ever interviewed me and they're like, "What do you like the most about Nirvana?" I'd feel like that Kurt Cobain hated his idiot fans. But yeah, just like that's the most entertaining thing about when bands like trend hop is that it's like live action Spinal Tap. It's like you're watching like a like real Spinal Tap. What if Metallica kept trying to trend hop like to this day? Like
And
what if they
they they I guess they try making Jen fail.
to be honest, like I could see Metallica cuz here's a hot take people are going to fucking there's going to be a group of people that like go like what the fuck are you talking about? Technically Metallica was kind of genty.
What?
I'm going there. Listen to their if you look at Gent if you look at Gent as like a Periphery ripoff, then even as a Periphery ripoff, like when people think of Gent, they think of like kind of like emo sounding like vocals with like screams and then like the Meshuggah sort of like but Metallica like their rhythms are very like the rhythm and the production of like their like let's say on like Master of Puppets or something it's very staccato very like if you put a gent drummer on like if you were to take Lars's drum tracks out of like let's say Master of Puppets and you put a gent drummer and he's like lining up with like the riffs that would be a fucking gent album a lot of the riffs like not everything like maybe not like um not like the thing that should not be is more like dirgy but like definitely like a Master of Puppets sort of looks like if you get like a drummer that's like a gent drummer like he does like the gent drums like it would be a fucking gent song. There's probably like a gent Master of Puppets cover, but I mean, and then if you look at like a lot of I mean, you look at the like the interviews that James has given about like his guitar style, he says that he's trying to do drums on guitar. Like that's what he's going after. And I feel like that's kind of what a lot of like gent players go after is they go after like it's all about like the rhythm more than like the actual notes. Thrash Here's a stupid hot take. Thrash is proto gent. How many people's heads do you think if whoever hears this, do you think their heads are just going to explode from that?
I mean, Meshuggah did start as a thrash band, so I guess there's some credence to that.
Meshuggah's like the missing link. Like they took And Justice for All with like a contradiction collapse. They're like, we're gonna do like a more technical And Justice for All. and then they started morphing into like a gent band. Another hot take. I don't feel like Meshuggah's gent.
Yeah, I actually agree with that.
This is more of like a hot take podcast than like a Metallica trend topic podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll do a slash hot takes. Yeah, I think that like we're going all over the place with this. I know. Well, if we do any more podcasts, I promise we'll try to stay more on topic. But I'll say it this way: since it's the first episode, we're kind of laying the ground a bit for maybe like expounding on things. But like the main thing is Metallica trend hopping. But we'll go into a little bit of other things. But like I feel like a lot of bands they'll they'll create a genre, but I don't feel like they're in the genre. You know what I mean? Like I feel like Meshuggah was responsible for gent, but they're not. They're not gent. Like when you think of gent, you think more like Periphery when you think of gent. I feel like the same way about like Van Halen. Van Halen got blamed for like hair metal, but I wouldn't call Van Halen a hair metal band. Like a glam hair metal band. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get exactly what you mean. 'Cause it's like you put like a gen band like Periphery next to the struggle. Like I listen to them back and forth, and I'm like, this is like totally different.
I look at like Meshuggah's like
Like Gen is
progr-
post Meshuggah.
yeah. So that means a friend of ours is gonna hate them because they're post. Yeah, a little inside joke there. We know somebody that hates like anything that's a post genre, like post punk or anything. Post punk rules though, by the way. But yeah, just I would even accept proto gen. I'll accept proto hair metal if people want to go that far with it. I'll accept the proto tag with bands like that. But I feel like a lot of those bands that like Meshuggah, I would call them more like uh they're more like groove, like progressive groove metal with some industrial like tinges. That's what I would call them. They're like progressive groove.
Meshuggah's a new metal band.
To be honest, I'll take I I would rather somebody call them like I've heard that argument like, oh, they're just progressive new metal.
Yeah.
I'll accept that even. Hey, whatever. You know what? If people want to say that, like that's more acceptable than calling them gent. When I think of gent, I think of like somebody like with like a scarf that like has like their hair cut on the side. They wear like thick rimmed glasses. They have like fan frets. They have a YouTube channel. And they have like a latte. Like it's very like yuppie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like gent is yuppie to me. It's a yuppie genre. Like you have to have a certain income to be like you don't see like a poor gent band. Like you don't see a gent band that they're like struggling. You know, like how there's punk bands that struggle. You don't see you have to be like higher middle class like to be gent. But yeah, I feel like Meshuggah was like being weirder because originally, like with the whole like H string thing, originally what they wanted to do was have a track that was just basses, Like they just wanted to like instead of like having like two guitar players and a bass player, they wanted to have a track where it was three bass players.
That's dumb.
So I feel like I mean, but you got to understand that that's a clear indication of what they were going for. They were trying to be like they're more avant-garde. Like they're people want to say, "Oh, like Meshuggah." They're but even I hear Jet bands that go or Jet fans and bands that go, "Oh, Meshuggah's boring." Like they're just it's like you just like it's minimalistic, but it's like subtly complex. I know I sound like a fucking idiot right now saying shit like this, but like a pretentious idiot. But it's true. Like they have a lot of like weird ass subtleties to them that I feel like a lot of people miss out on. And I like things that are more complex or more like out there, but you know, I feel like Meshuggah on paper I shouldn't like them, but they just have they do the elements in the right way where they're not being like pretentious assholes about it. Like I feel like a lot of jet bands do.
Yep.
Oh, another one of my going back to the band the trend hopping topic. Another one of my favorite trend hoppers, Rob Flynn.
Yeah.
Rob Flynn is amazing. I only like one Machine Head album. Like I don't even I if I hear it I don't cringe. I'll say it that much. But Rob Flynn as a human being is like the most fascinating lol cow of a human being. Like you'll always be entertained. Like you'll never not be.
Yeah.
He like when he hopped on that new metal train, he fucking he's like I'm going full on new metal. Spiked hair. I'm gonna start rapping, you know, you know, all that shit. The only way it would have been more perfect is if Rob Flynn was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna buy the rights to all of Violence's music, and I'm gonna make a new metal album of Violence's music.
Ugh.
I would be like, this is top tier. This is the. I would fucking die. I would listen to it, and I would just die laughing. It would be so amazing from like all fronts. Like there would be like the hardcore like thrash fans. They're like, this is an abomination. This is, and then there's like the Rob Flynn simps. They're like, this album's amazing. It just be the Rob Flynn. Please go back to being new metal, and then buy the rights to Violence and remake it and to sound new metal. Here's oppressing the masses, but it sounds like the Burning Red. He's gonna be like, "Oh, it's world in a world. It's world in a world."
No, actually, I want that to happen to see all these thrashes get like the panties twisted, because
Oh, it would be like just a fucking. In terms of like in the metal community, it would be like World War III, just from all sides. Because like there's gonna again, like I said, there's going to be like the simps that are like, "Oh yeah, I don't like thrash, but this is amazing."
ugh. It's like that's what. Cause I guess that's what they would deserve for liking Violence in the first place. They're like a third tier thrash band.
Oh no, I come on. Eternal Nightmare is a fucking banger. Like, personally, me, I like oppressing the masses the most, but like Violence. I'm not gonna say they're like. I'm not gonna say they're like on. I don't actually. Yeah, they kind of released. They released like one shit album. Not a shit album, but it was kind of like a meh album. Like I would say they're almost top tier. They're almost if they only had Eternal Nightmare and Oppressing the Masses and they didn't have the third album. I always forget the name of the third album. But if they just had those two, I would be like, this band's top tier because like all their albums are good because they only have two albums. Have you heard of Pressing the Masses?
I think I have at one point in my life, but I forgot.
You might want to check it out again. People always go, "Oh, Eternal Nightmare." I like Eternal Nightmare. Pressing the Masses is when they're like, that's when Rob Flynn wasn't like a cringe lord. Like you could be like Rob Flynn is actually cool, like not in a cringy way. This was before he was like telling his sons like cringe like slam poetry.
Yeah.
Before he was like yelling at Phil Anselmo that he's racist.
Shit, I don't think we've been recording this
Like
one. Oh, okay. Oh, so we've been
what?
recording for like an hour, so if you have like nothing more to say about like Metallica trend hopping, I think we should wrap this up.
Yeah, we got to wrap this up. Yeah, that's we're already to the end. This is a messy podcast. It's the first one.
Yeah.
Cut us some slack. If you don't agree with us, that's just a sign you're a pleb. Just accept it.
That is true.
You are not as based as us. And if you agree with us, you rule. And you're part of the club. And you can go past the gate because we're the gatekeepers.